$500 million to upgrade Highlands Highway. Government to appoint caretaker for 2015 Pacific Games Village. Landowners threaten to shut down Rabaul town over compensation deals.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Friday's news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill today announced a $500 million funding arrangement for the upgrade and repair of the Highlands Highway. The Prime Minister told Parliament that this will be facilitated by the Asian Development Bank through the ongoing loan arrangement. He also announced India as a new development partner in the areas of road infrastructure.
In the absence of Works and Implementation Minister Francis Awesa in Parliament today, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill responded to questions being raised. Member for Kerawagi Open Camillus Dangema raised the question regarding road link in his electorate that was funded through the Asian Development Bank's funding arrangement that was left to deteriorate. When responding to the question raised by the member, the Prime Minister announced this funding arrangement for the upgrade of the Highlands Highway.
This opportunity to announce to this Honourable House that the Cabinet has approved a also facility with the Asian Development Bank of $500 million for the rehabilitation, upgrade and sealing of the Highlands Highway.
He told Parliament that the Department of Works will be moving away from the traditional road sealing method to better standards to encourage savings on road maintenance.
Speaker, we are in fact talking to the Works Department to just go from, get away from bitumen into asphalt so that the roads can last longer.
In his detailed response, the Prime Minister also announced new players joining the list of development partners that PNG already has, like ADB, JICA and the World Bank.
Talking to, of course, our friends in India who are now trying to increase their participation in PNG through the Exim Bank. We are trying to see if we can fund the road from Baya all the way down to Medan.
The Prime Minister further announced a 450 million kina funding arrangement from JICA that will fund roads in East and West New Britain, New Ireland and the Nazap Airport. He urged provincial and open members to use their service improvement program funds to partner with the national government in building and maintaining road infrastructures. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News.
Discussions on the caretaker of the 2015 Games Village are expected to begin between the Sports and Higher Education Ministries soon. Sports Minister Justin Chichenko says though the University of Papua New Guinea has ownership of the village, it lacks the capacity to maintain the infrastructure. Thus, the discussion will appoint a body to maintain the recently constructed infrastructure, which can accommodate up to 4,000 people at any one time with a mess facility.
The series of questions initially raised by Chuave MP Vera Mori in Parliament included the development of sporting facilities in other provinces and a request for the Sports Ministry to give recognition to other sporting codes like cricket. Making reference to the national cricket team, the Barramundis, Mori said the team has performed exceptionally well and placed PNG on the international cricket map. He said such teams deserve strong government support and wants the sports department to further support them.
They have competed with the best in the world. Now, plenty time, government, you mean, look, Sawala display. In that sports minister, he can talk Sawala and people of Papua New Guinea. If we can give recognition to other sports that we don't pay much attention to.
But while the debate on the ownership of the Games Village was put to rest when a decision was reached by the National Executive Council to give the facilities to UPNG, it raised concerns on the capability of the premier institution on how it will maintain such a huge infrastructure. In Parliament today, Minister responsible Justin Chichenko explained that though the village was built for the 2015 Pacific Games, The facilities will again be used for accommodating participants for future regional or international events.
Is that the Games Village is a massive infrastructure development, 30 buildings. It's basically the biggest hotel in the Pacific.
Chichenko further explained that the government is investing in building sporting facilities in Goroka, Ley and Kokopo and will continue with the Go for Gold government program focused on the sports development in the country. Takla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Well, more than 600 security personnel employed by NCDC during the Pacific Games are still waiting for their allowances. The group claimed that they were promised an allowance after the Games, but have received nothing to date. They fronted the Baroka police station this afternoon in protest of their allowance, calling on NCDC to clear the air. Many of them say they have used their own resources during the Pacific Games to provide security for the Games.
Login payment blumi blaso, mila machine payment. Planti emo school mangi, samla bagobegen lo school, mila samla mila simevi, samla lagobegen lo place too. But all waiting payment, the payment time no. I'm always same 1 month now.
So time game we finish na game or passing game lo Saturday. No got pay me like kisi me expecting pay lo Friday and Saturday but passing game but nothing happened. So now 1 week you got finish me wait no that so now second week come Friday blong him now so me protest me come down lo. Borka police station lo Simescot lo here lo Gontap lo City Hall lo governor must look 7 and straight me no work nothing.
Cultural groups engaged during the Pacific Games have thanked the Games Organising Committee for the opportunities to display PNG's cultural diversity. The Games provided economic opportunities for those involved and enabled simple villages to be part of the prestigious event.
The Games not only benefited communities through economic gain, but allowed for cultural groups to engage with a wider audience and for the greater appreciation of Papua New Guinea's unique cultures and people.
We always want them to come and take part in these activities to promote our culture. Now, this has been a wonderful opportunity that has been never been offered before. The South Pacific Games in Papua New Guinea.
Through dance and song, the people of the hinterlands of the island of Siasi hope to continue showcasing their cultural practices and ancient rituals.
We call ourselves ICAM. ICAM Siasi Traditional Culture Group. Our goal, our aim is to promote our culture and keep it alive and to preserve our culture.
Mr. Aikung says that it is through cultural get-togethers that elders are able to teach the younger generations of their traditions and to ensure that their culture does not die out.
I would like to encourage our big people and our people in the village to try and bring the culture into the towns and to try and encourage young people, especially where they come from, to try and encourage them to take part in their culture. In doing so, they will maintain their culture, and they will also pass it on to their children and grandchildren. One thing that we hate to see is to see our culture die. All right.
After performing at the 2015 Pacific Games, the group is now engaged in various fundraising activities with the aim of assisting members of the group before they return home to Siasi.
Next 2 weeks we'll be doing some fundraising. Some fundraising to assist us to send them back to the village. We'd like to thank our big people on the island, and I would like to also thank our member, who is kindly asked that he will assist us.
Sasha Pesilovo, National EMTV News.
Rabaul MP Dr. Alan Marat has called on the people of Eastern New Britain to give enough time to the provincial government to address their concerns following a peaceful protest last week. The Tovalengan, Tobabe and Ratagu landowners presented a list of demands to the Rabaul port operators regarding compensation deals. They also demanded a meeting with the Rabaul town authorities or they will be forced to close Rabaul town.
What has been brought to my...
Dr. Marat's call comes 9 days after the indigenous landowner groups demanded that their concerns be looked into by the East New Britain provincial government. Amongst the list were compensation demands.
I really do not know what this particular landowning group can do in order to get something from the government in terms of compensation.
The indigenous landowners last week issued threat to shut down operations in Rabaul town, including its largest ports. The Rabaul MP says there are other landowner groups who have claimed ownership of Rabaul town but are yet to speak out.
There are other landowning groups within Matapit area or within the province that are also laying claim to this particular township land of Rabaul. And I understand that they are disagreeing with this Tawalingan to Beratagul.
The landowners on Tuesday last week staged a peaceful protest march to the Rabaul port and presented a formal notice to the port owners regarding the closure of Rabaul town. But the closure of the town has been pending after the acting provincial administrator, Wilson Matava, have taken on their concerns to look into. Rabaul town, although devastated during the 1994 eruption, still remains an important location for East New Britain province. Much of the supplies for the province comes through here before it's transported to Kokopo or other areas in the province. Any disruptions to the town's operations by the landowners will affect the delivery of goods and services in the province. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Polling for by-elections in Koilala and West Sepik extended. Also, IRC move office in Ley and women encouraged to participate in the horticultural industry. Stay tuned. We'll bring you those stories coming up after the break.
These women have a lot to smile about.
While they come from different backgrounds, they all have one thing in common.
Good to have you back with the news. Polling periods for the Goilala Open and West Sepik regional by-elections have been extended by 7 days. The extension made by Governor-General Sir Michael Ogier will allow the polling teams in both areas to complete polling. Electoral Commissioner Sir Andrew Trawan said that due to the delay in security allowances for security personnel, bad weather conditions and transportation issues, polling could not be completed on the scheduled dates. The polling period for Goilala has been extended from the 24th of July to July 29th, while for Sepik, West Sepik that is, from the 24th to the 31st of this month. The Internal Revenue Commission has relocated its office to the centre of Lae City in a move geared towards improving government's revenue collection and customer service. The IRC's Tax Commissioner, Dr. Alois Dayton, who was in Lae for the official office opening, pointed out that Lae City's increasing importance is key to the health of government's coffers.
Over 36 months, Lae City's rapid development has spurred a series of adjustments for both government agencies and private organizations. Today, the Internal Revenue Commission opened a new office in the center of town. The aim, to improve customer service and improve on tax compliance.
A lot of GST, a lot of income tax, salary and wages tax is also picked up from our office here in Lae.
The Morobe province is crucial for national government coffers. It is a port city and has a constant inflow of people who come from the Highlands to spend their money in the province. Improving on compliance means the IRC can plug revenue leakages and secure government revenues.
For us, we just need to ensure that we have sufficient number of staff to be able to go out and conduct inspections.
For internal revenue, the Morobe provincial government has a 60-40 arrangement with the national government. It was previously an issue of contention, with the provincial government arguing that it wasn't getting its share of GST from the national government. The IRC now says provincial government should be taking ownership of internal revenue by making sure that those who are supposed to pay are registered. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lae.
Gulf leaders have been urged to stop fighting each other and work together for the second time in this month's Parliament sitting. Today, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, when answering questions on the investigation into the Gulf Disasters Relief food supplies, appealed to the Gulf leaders to work in union. Prime Minister O'Neill said though he did not receive police reports into the investigations, he knows police are working on that case.
The Gulf leaders, particularly Kikori MP Mark Mapakai and Gulf Governor Avila Cavo, were reminded again today to work together to bring government service into Gulf. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said Gulf will host an important project and the leaders have to work together to ensure it becomes a success.
Many of these projects are going on and we need the support of the leaders of the province, and please let us work together in making sure that we deliver this for the good of our people.
However, in a recent press conference, Kikori MP Mark Mapakai justified his reason for raising questions on these issues. Mapakai said the services into Gulf are at a halt because of the controversy of the political status of the convicted Gulf Governor Avila Cavo. He explained that Section 103 of the Constitution preserves Kavo as a member of parliament and clearly not as a governor, and wants Kavo to vacate the governor's seat.
As far as the legal advice from both provincial affairs, the regulatory government agency that is responsible for governance of provincial government, and the Attorney General, the highest authority who gives the legal opinions in the state.
On Tuesday, the Deputy Prime Minister, Leo Dion, also asked the Gulf leaders to work together for the sake of their people. Dion was also responding to a series of questions raised by the Kikori MP. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said he will direct police officers investigating the case to give him an update on the investigations. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Northern Governor Gary Jufa has called on relevant authorities to investigate illegal logging operations in the Binandera area of the Northern Province. This comes after 17 landowners were assaulted by police employed by the logging company. Illegal logging operations are prone in the area. However, very little attention is given by relevant authorities to address it. Jufa has collected reports of the incident from the 17 victims and will pursue the matter in court. His provincial government has taken a hardline approach to all illegal activities in the province and will not tolerate this latest incident. A movement is slowly gaining momentum around the country. Described by its members as a silent success, this movement springs from a passion for flowers. While there is still a lot of room for growth, members in this flower movement have already seen the fruits of their efforts and are excited about its future.
These women have a lot to smile about. While they come from different backgrounds, they all have one thing in common: a great love for flowers. They are all part of the PNG Cut Flower Association, an association that networks with women all over the country who are pushing forward this emerging industry. While working with flowers started as a hobby for most of them, they are now seeing its financial benefits.
I'd like to encourage a lot of women out there who are waiting for their husband's payday. We're encouraging a lot of mothers, if you're just doing this, sitting down, doing nothing, you are not managing your time well, get into this movement.
Some of them have full-time jobs. Others have left formal employment to fully concentrate on flowers.
Time we looking most more leftover flower, I got value belong and Mr. Big money stuff. Okay, I'm just like making me lo go more lo pining flower. One plus susa I'm looking mean I'm talk you can make him money lo this all flowers, so I'm come na buy more 600 kina lo this lad.
Mary Sound is the president of the PNG CFA, who would love to see this movement develop into an industry.
Some of those provinces that I have conducted and they're into doing flower arranging now, turn around, it's hard to get flowers from them, cut flowers, because they're using their cut flowers. And therefore, they, like the demand for their own cut flowers, and here I'm needing more cut flowers for Port Moresby. It's like we're going around in circle, looking for cut flowers. And so, like, as I was saying earlier, I'm urging farmers out there, go into thousands and thousands of, flowers plants to grow, and not just 20 or 30 around the house.
Right now, the cut flowers and potted plants that you see around Port Moresby offices are from a network of women who are growing them in their backyards. However, these women want to develop a flower industry that not only caters to the flower demands of a growing city, but to a world in need of tropical plants. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
And now we take a look at the finance news. The Kina closed unchanged at $0.3615 in the interbank market, and at Bank South Pacific, our Kina was trading at $0.354 $0.4783 Australian dollars, $0.3185 euro, and 43.44 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and copper closed the day lower, while coffee and cocoa closed higher. Palm oil and crude oil closed the day lower. And lastly, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 188 points lower, the ASX closed at 116 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 107 points higher. You're watching National EMTV News Tonight. We'll bring you stories making headlines overseas when we come back. Stay tuned. Pacific leaders. Oh man, I should have fucking gone with that guy to Tonga. You know, man? Hey, yeah. Yeah, 107 supposed to go down the last one, for the all ordinaries. Yeah, I got that on my script as well. And like the last one before the stock market. Gold and copper. Try put that one up. Gold and copper closed lower. And palm oil and crude oil both closed the day lower. Thank you. Cool. To Tibet. Rinpoche, Tenzin Delek Rinpoche, Tibetan monk. Tenzin.
Giving thanks for a simple meal and a safe place to stay. Most of these children lost one or both parents to Ebola. Now there's no family left who's able or willing to look after them.
Good to have you back with National EMTV News. Turning overseas now, Pacific leaders are calling for more efforts in delivering meteorology services to the region to reduce vulnerability for natural disasters in Pacific Island communities. Tonga played host today to the very first Pacific Ministerial meeting on meteorology. PNG was represented by Transport Secretary Roy Mumu and Director of National Weather Services Samuel Maiha. The meeting focuses on assessing the Pacific region's climate capacity as well as future prospects regarding water, agriculture and health and drought policies and training for climate services. Assistant Secretary of the World Meteorological Organization, Dr. Elena Maniakova, said air and sea temperatures across the Pacific have surpassed the global average of 0.6 degrees over the past 50 years. Well, 8 people were arrested out of a group of around 50 protesters who gathered outside the Chinese consulate in Sydney on Wednesday to protest over the death of prominent Tibetan monk Tenzin Delek Rinpoche, who died in prison last Sunday. The Buddhist monk and leader was arrested in 2002 and was sentenced to death, despite many human rights groups and UN experts protesting against the validity and fairness of his trial. His sentencing was changed to life imprisonment in 2005. EMTV's Alana Lay has this report.
Despite Rinpoche's arrest during a raid in 2002, on charges of orchestrating 5 bombings, many still believe in his innocence, noting his community efforts in Tibetan culture and identity and the environment. In 2009, 40,000 Tibetans from Rinpoche's home province petitioned for a retrial, proving unsuccessful and resulting in the arrest of 70. Rinpoche eventually died in a Chinese prison last Sunday, one of his last statements being, "I am not guilty. Please appeal for justice for me. Call all people together and do everything possible to help overturn the verdict." Upset protesters managed to access the Chinese consulate on Wednesday through a gate that was opened for an entering truck. One demonstrator removed the Chinese flag from the flagpole.
They don't know what's exactly going on in Tibet because Chinese cut everything, every information they keep the secret.
They feel so much grief and so much frustration, which is why when they went into the consulate, they just wanted to express their emotion and show the Chinese government, especially the Chinese consulate, about what they're doing is wrong.
Tibet previously shared a border with China before it became a territory of the People's Republic of China in 1950. The Chinese government has since ruled Tibet with a hardline approach, particularly towards followers of the 14th Dalai Lama, who escaped Tibet during a rebellion in 1959 with the aid of the CIA. Alana Lay, EMTV World News.
Turning to Africa now, the Ebola outbreak in Africa has left thousands of children orphaned, with many rejected by their communities and left destitute because of the virus's stigma. One orphanage on the outskirts of Freetown, Sierra Leone, has paid a high price for helping these orphans.
Giving thanks for a simple meal and a safe place to stay. Most of these children lost one or both parents to Ebola. Now there's no family left who's able or willing to look after them. I've returned to meet staff here still grieving their colleague, Augustine Baker, who died of Ebola. I met Augustine as he tried to trace children orphaned by the virus back in January. But within a few weeks of this, he was dead. His wife also died. They left 3 small children. The youngest was just 7 months old. Augustine's mother now cares for them. She says she'll never let them forget him.
They will be very proud of her. Their father was a hard-working man, so I have to tell them that.
The work Augustine started continues.
Are you feeling more happy now?
We met Mohammed last time we were here. He's now been reintegrated back into his community, and it's the simple things that delight him.
In the morning, when I wake up, I brush my teeth. After that, I wash my body. After that, I go to school. They give me my lunch.
Workers here are coming across fewer Ebola orphans, but they're increasingly facing a different issue. Some of the children they've placed back within communities are now being isolated or even mistreated because of the stigma associated with the virus.
People are really rejecting them and they've been stigmatized. A lot of things have been happening to them, but we have been doing our best at least to talk to these communities not to reject, especially the survived children that have been survived from Ebola.
These children will never grow to know their parents. Some won't even remember they existed. This is one of the many tragic legacies of Ebola.
Well, Trukai Sports is coming up next, and we'll give you all the details when we come back. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. On July 12th, the Oceania Football Confederation Disciplinary Committee reached a decision regarding the eligibility of player Declan Wynne in the match between New Zealand and Vanuatu. That match was played on July 10th in the OFC Olympic qualifying tournament here in Port Moresby, PNG. The decision places the New Zealand Football Federation under immense pressure to appeal, with future Olympic and World Cup qualification processes now in the spotlight and their credibility already in question.
The committee comprised the following members from the Cook Islands, Tonga, American Samoa, Solomon Islands and Papua New Guinea, and after deliberation decided that Wynne was ineligible to play in the OFC Olympic qualifying tournament, as the player assumed a new nationality in January 2015. He would have been required to have either been born in New Zealand or to have lived there for 5 years after reaching the age of 18, or to have a parent or grandparent who was born in the country. Wynne, however, did not meet any of these and was found as a result to be ineligible. Vanuatu's lodged appeal changed the complexion of the Pacific Games, OFC Olympic qualifiers, and provided the country an opportunity to meet Fiji in the final, which they subsequently lost 4-3 on penalties. The New Zealand Football Federation now has 14 days to appeal, and the decision has long-term ramifications for New Zealand, as huge financial investments had been made on this team, and while it directly affects one player, the Federation could have their own set of issues to deal with, considering upcoming major tournaments such as the Women's Under-20 and Senior Men's World Cup events. Jeremy Mogi, National, EMTV Sports.
Sports Minister Justin Chichenko says the government will hold back 10% of the contract value for the maintenance and defects of sporting venues to ensure that all are fully completed and any defects are rectified before the final handover is made. EMTV Shane Saroya has more on this report.
The government has spent 1.4 billion kina to build the games venues, and there's still 120 million yet to be paid to the contractors. In a press conference, Minister for Sports and International Events Justin Chichenko said the government will hold back 10% of all the contract values for maintenance and defects of the Pacific Games venues.
240 million kina for the Games Village. 24 million will be withheld until that Games Village is fully complete to our full satisfaction and there's no defects. Another very important thing, all contractors for these venues that have been awarded these contracts will have to maintain these facilities free of charge on their cost for 12 months.
He further said it will take 12 months to ensure that all the buildings were structurally sound and defects are rectified before the final handover is done.
And all those problems will be rectified and fixed before the venues are officially handed back to the PNG Sports Foundation.
10% of all the venues like Sir John Guy's Outdoor Stadium, which cost 160 million, Taurama Aquatic Centre, 150 million, and also Rita Flynn Indoor Stadium, cost under 50 million, will be held back by the government.
This is done to ensure that we have all our facilities completed over the next 2 to 3 months.
It was made clear by Chichenko that the contractors will have 12-month liability period where they must make sure that all the facilities are well looked after and maintained.
The professional independent consultants and architects, and also there's been a defects list done by the PNG Sports Commission, PNG Sports Foundation, that will go around with the contractors and look at every problem that they have in each individual venue.
These world-class sporting facilities will be handed over to the PNG Sports Foundation once fully completed after this 12-month duration. Shane Saroya, National, EMTV Sports.
There is a possibility of Papua New Guinea hosting the Commonwealth Games in the near future. With world-class facilities now available in the country, the government has made it known that it will assess bidding processes of the Commonwealth Games.
Sports Minister Justin Chichenko, in a news conference held this week, said they will be looking at the bidding process to host the Commonwealth Games.
One thing, when you're talking about sports, we will look at the bidding process of the Commonwealth Games. We've just spoke about it on the floor of Parliament there, and most people are very much supportive of taking ourselves to the next level and having a Commonwealth Games here in Papua New Guinea, Port Moresby, or around our country.
Papua New Guinea conquered the recently ended Pacific Games with athletes performing beyond earlier predictions. Athletes from Australia and New Zealand commended on a job well done.
The bidding process is requirements of facilities and law and order and many other things that go in it. And we've proven with the Pacific Games that we can do that. Remember, Australia and New Zealand were also here at these games as well, and they highly commended all our chief commissions and Games Organising Committee for a job well done.
Games venues have been internationally certified. The soccer fields are FIFA accredited, and the basketball and volleyball courts are international standard. The Pacific Games is different to the Commonwealth Games. The Commonwealth Game is bigger and more complex, with nearly twice as many athletes and countries taking part. Papua New Guinea may be ready to host such a large event, which will require more volunteers and security personnel, and with the success of some of PNG's athletes taking out gold and silver at the Commonwealth Games, we can be competitive at this sort of events. With the many plans put together by the government for our athletes and the development of our sporting facilities, we may just be able to create history by hosting such an event, and if we do secure it, it's one step closer to one day hosting the Olympic Games. Elijah Lavette, National EMTV Sports.
Well, True Guy Sports continues after this break. Stay with us.
True Guy Sports.
And he's way up the ground over the halfway.
Following the demolishing of the West Tigers last weekend, the Broncos will be looking to inflict the same on the Titans when they face off later this evening.
Try coming all off the back of Ben Hunt and his amazing work.
The Titans, on the other hand, will be looking to bounce back following the disappointing loss to the Newcastle Knights last weekend. They will be without Daniel Mortimer following a concussion in their match against the Knights. The Roosters will want to maintain their good form from last weekend when they walked over the Warriors 24 points to nil. The Roosters currently sit third on the ladder behind the Broncos and the Cowboys. The Tigers will still be without skipper Robbie Farah and will be looking to get out from the bottom of the ladder and will be desperate for a win tonight. Dion Kombeng, National EMTV Sports.
Good to have you back with Trukai Sports. John Chan has been appointed president for Port Moresby Billiards and Snooker Association following the annual general meeting earlier this week. Chan takes over from Roger Wilson. Long-time serving PNG Billiards and Snooker Administrator Stuart Nickens has been appointed vice president. Peter Fong was also elected as the president for PNG BSA for a 6th term at the PNG BSA biannual meet this week. President for Women in Snooker, Bobby McCarthy, will serve her first term in the committee this year. Well, round 20 of the NRL in Friday Night Football this evening will see the top of the table Brisbane Broncos take on the Gold Coast Titans, and the West Tigers will go up against the Sydney Roosters. The Broncos have been in great form and will be looking to maintain that as they head into tonight's match against the Titans.
Following the demolishing of the West Tigers last weekend, the Broncos will be looking to inflict the same on the Titans when they face off later this evening.
Try coming all off the back of Ben Hunt and his amazing work.
The Titans, on the other hand, will be looking to bounce back following the disappointing loss to the Newcastle Knights last weekend. They will be without Daniel Mortimer following a concussion in their match against the Knights. The Roosters will want to maintain their good form from last weekend when they walked over the Warriors 24 points to 0. The Roosters currently sit third on the ladder behind the Broncos and the Cowboys. The Tigers will still be without skipper Robbie Farah and will be looking to get out from the bottom of the ladder and will be desperate for a win tonight. Dion Kombang, National EMTV Sports.
Well, Trukai Sports ends here. The weather details for the next 24 hours when we come back. Stay tuned for that.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region, Port Moresby and Carama to look forward to cloudy weather with chances of some showers. Squally rain expected in Alotau, showers plus rain in Poponeta, while Taro to look forward to a few chances of squally showers. In Mamase, rain expected in Lake City, patchy rain with possible thunderstorms in Madang, while Wewak and Vanimore to anticipate thundery showers. In the New Guinea Islands, showers expected in Lorengau, Kokopo, Kimbe and Buka, while Kavieng to look forward to brief showers. And in the Highlands region, all centres to look forward to showers with possible thunderstorms, then morning fog. Looking at forecasts for small ships within the coastal waters of Papua New Guinea, but first there is a strong wind-borne current for all coastal waters and islands of PNG, except for waters of Wewak to Vanimore to the northern PNG Indonesian border. Looking at waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait, Daru to Kiwai Island, Karama to Yule Island, Hood Point through to Samurai Island, eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, Finschhafen through to Vitia Strait, including Siasi Islands and Long Island, seas of 2.5 meters to 3 meters, waters of Cape Bogle to Finschhafen, seas of 2 meters to 3 meters, waters of Madang through to Bogia, including all its islands, Manus and western group of islands, seas of 1 meter to 2.5 meters, waters of Wewak to Aitape, Vanimore and the northern PNG Indonesian border, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters, and lastly waters of New Ireland to East New Britain to Bougainville, seas of 1.5 meters to 2.5 meters. And ocean forecast for PNG areas, Coral Sea sees rough with southeast winds at 25 to 34 knots. Solomon Sea sees rough with southeast winds at 20 to 34 knots. Bismarck Sea sees moderate to rather rough with southeast winds at 15 to 25 knots. And lastly, Pacific Ocean sees slight to moderate with southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. Now, before we go, a quick recap of our top stories again tonight. $500 million to upgrade Highlands Highway. Also, government to appoint caretaker for the 2015 Pacific Games Village. And landowners threaten to shut down Rabaul town over compensation deals. Well, that's how we wrap up the bulletin this Friday. From the entire news crew, I'm Tokana Hasavi Jr. Thanks for your company. You have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Good night.